now. It's time to go to the like last but not least, our last talk today. It's about Flutter. So because usually we need to configure multiple environments for Flutter deployments with our CI/CD, Sokari will tell us how to configure multiple environments for Flutter deployment with Bitrise. Sokari is a product manager at Sprint Hub, works as a product manager with iOS and Android engineering experience. He brings over 5 years of experience in software engineering, release, and product management. Hi, Sokari.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you. So
okay,
you can start.
All right. So my name is Sokari, and I'll be talking about multi-environment setup with Flutter. I've been using Flutter for the past 3 years now, and I also Bitrise for the past 3 years. And we built several apps on Bitrise and Flutter, and I want to show you guys how to set up Flutter for multiple environments, which I've seen. I've also seen like a lot of questions, a couple of people asking questions around Flutter and iOS, especially the iOS part. I've seen complaints online where people say it's impossible to set up Flutter, multiple flavors and multiple environments for iOS. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you guys my Bitrise dashboard and how I managed to set up these multi-environment workflows and give you some tips on how you can do yours. So I'm sharing my screen now. One. Okay, so right here, what you're seeing that it's a production level application that we set up on Bitrise. I just renamed it so that I can show you how it works. So this workflows you're seeing now, we've actually used it for production. So if you're trying to set up a Flutter project for Bitrise, there's already a simple setup workflow that you can use. I'm going to skip that part because since I'll be showing you things for Android and iOS, I want to have enough time to explain everything. So I'm going to skip that part. Then secondly, once you finish setting on your project, the second thing you have to do is create multi-flavors for your Flutter project if you want to do like a multiple environment setup. There is a very thorough post on Medium that you can use by Animech Jane. So I'm going to share that post on. I'm going to share that post here on the chat. So anyone that wants to set up your project, you can just go through this post step by step, and you'll be able to set up your flavors both on Android and on iOS. On iOS, you're going to need Xcode, as you already know. And you also, if you really want to get this done, you might also need an Apple developer account to enable you configure a solid mobile DevOps workflow where you don't have to manage your provisioning profiles manually and your secrets manually. You can automate all those things with some Bitrise steps that I'm going to show you. Okay, so if you look at this, so we have on this particular figure, there's Android, Android workflow. So these are by default. Whenever you configure a Bitrise project, you're going to have all this. This is the Flutter install step. This is the Flutter analyze step. And for credentials, what we do is we write our credentials at build time. That way we can skip the process of committing your credentials to Git, which is not very good for security reasons. So you can use the change value in the file step from Bitrise to target any file in your project and write your credentials. So the credentials can be saved in secrets. So you can come to Bitrise secrets, upload your credentials. These are Android MAC keys that we used for the project. Instead of writing it to the Android Android manifest, what we did was we created a value that we rewrite at build time. That's what we're using this step for. Then for things like if you're using Firebase and you want to use use your Google JSON or your plist, that's for iOS, instead of committing that file to Git, which is actually not best practice, you can just exclude it from Git, then write it to the particular folder at build time, just like we did with writing to the other file. So after that, this is the Flutter build step that comes by default. One thing I also want to point out is that by default, if you configure a Flutter project, you're going to get this. The setup is going to come with configured like this for you to run both builds. From experience, that is not, you might not you might not be able to move very fast if you use this. So what we did was, at our company, we build one project at a time. So each workflow for different platforms. What that did was, if something fails on Android, it doesn't disturb your iOS workflow, or if something fails on iOS, it doesn't disturb your Android workflow. So that way you can still go ahead and trigger the next workflow, even if probably Android, whatever failed was Android specific, and you can still try out the iOS, and you don't have to stop the entire build. So separating the workflows for different platforms is actually something that made us move faster. So after that step, we use Firebase app distribution for testing.
All right, sorry about the breaking transmission. So we use Firebase app distribution for testing, and this other step is for caching, as you already know. And we also deployed to Bitrise so we can download the artifacts manually if we need to. Then the last workflow on the last step in the Android workflow triggers the next build, which is something that we prefer doing rather than using one workflow to build both apps at the same time. So if Android succeeds, it kicks off the iOS build. So I'm going to head straight to the iOS workflow so you can take a look at what we've done here. So by default, all you need to do if you want to create this is to clone the other workflow and add a couple of things. Like so what you're going to do is, what is different from Android is that you're going to add your iOS provisioning if you want to automatically provision, download your provisioning profiles. So what before you do that, you would have to connect your API keys with Bitrise. And once you've been able to do that, it will enable you to not just automate your provisioning profile setups, you will also be able to deploy to App Store Connect straight from Bitrise. So, but this particular workflow you're seeing here, it's for development. So we don't have the App Store Connect step here. So let me take you step by step through this workflow. So these are already, this is Flutter install, analyze. We've already seen what this one does. This steps changes this is used to change the map key. We got this step from, I think someone in the community created this, which we use to write the build number on the app icon, which has also enabled our QA, people that do QA on iOS, be able to report bugs faster, where they can just look at the icon and tell you, okay, we have a bug on build number 200 or build number 100. So this step has actually helped us move faster. So after that step, what you've seen here is the auto provisioning step for iOS. If you, this can be done manually, where you configure you go to your Apple developer account, set up, enter your device IDs and download the provisioning key and go and install it on the code signing section of Bitrise. But if the problem we had with doing it manually is that whenever we need to add somebody new to the project, we have to go to the developer account, add the person's device ID, download the new provisioning profile, come back to Bitrise and upload it. So with this step, we're able to skip that process entirely and move faster. So all we needed to do was, if someone new with an iOS device comes on the project that will need to share builds with, we just take the person's device ID, upload it on the developer account, and run a new build. Once we run a new build, this step automatically downloads a new provisioning profile, and we don't have to come back here and manually upload the iOS provisioning profile. So after that, you can run the build. For the build number, you can automatically use the Bitrise build number and use the dash build number flag, the Flutter flag, and change the build number. So every build can use the Bitrise, every version code can use the Bitrise build number. So that's, with this flag, you don't have to worry. This works for both Android and iOS, so you don't have to do it separately for Android or iOS. You can just use this this code here, and it will just work. So after that, this is your archive and export. One thing I want to share with you guys is that if you once you finish configuring your multi flavors, you would have to come here and enter the configuration name. If you skip this step, your build might use the default configuration name that it's on the Xcode on the iOS project, or the Xcode project, the one that was configured from Xcode. So filling in this configuration name will actually enable you to switch between different workflow, different environments or flavors for your iOS project. So if you have release dev, release production, profile dev, profile production, you have to come here and enter enter it, or else it will use the default configuration. So after that, you can deploy to Firebase and all that. So these two steps are for the development and what we use internally. Then let me show you how the Android workflow is configured for deployment. So we still use the same steps. The only difference here is that you have to configure you have to sign the Android, the APK or the AAB that you after Flutter build, then you would have to configure your Google Play deploy step, which is on Bitrise. You can add it and go to your Android developer console, configure your API key. Once you've configured the API key, you can upload it here as a file, as a generic file. And once you upload it, you can now take the path and you can use the variable that's generated by Bitrise here, and you'll be able to use the Android, the Google Play deployment step. After that, you can choose the track, which is alpha here, or any other track that you created manually. For us, we use the default tracks, and yeah, and that's it. With that, you can deploy to Google Play Store from Bitrise by running your builds. Then next will be the deploy to App Store, which is still the same. The difference here is that immediately after your exports, Xcode export, you have to use the deploy to iTunes. If you've already configured your Apple developer account API key with Bitrise for the development part, which enabled us to do the iOS, the auto provisioning thing, you don't need to do that anymore. You can come straight to your deploy iTunes, choose API key, and enter your bundle ID. Enter your bundle ID of the app, and you're good to go. And if you run your build, you'll be able to deploy straight to App Store. So what I'm going to do now, I'll show you how I'll show you a previous build that we've triggered, something that was successful, so you can see for yourself how this works. So I'm looking for something that we use to iOS production. This is Android. Give me a second. Let's get something for iOS. Okay, deploy to iOS. Okay, this. Okay, let's look at this one. So this was successful. If you look at the logs, you can see for yourself. Let me expand this. Let's go straight to the deploy to App Store. So yes. So I think that'll be all. If you have any questions that something I skipped, please reach out, and I'll be able to answer your questions. There's a lot that I skipped because of the time that we allocated for this talk. But I'm open to questions. You can reach me on the Bitrise Slack workspace. I'll be able to answer all the questions you have if you're having difficulties setting up multiple environments for your Bitrise with Bitrise and Flutter.
Thank you, Sokari, for this interesting topic. Actually, I know that like managing Flutter apps, you have a different challenges because you are managing two apps, Android and iOS, and you are set up a lot of things, or you are like set up like a good way, and you give us today like tips and tricks to how we can manage this and how we can use different workflows to deploy our application to the App Store or to Google Play Store. So we don't have open questions, but like that Sokari mentioned that you can reach Sokari if you wanted to ask anything about this workflow or this implementation. And thanks again, Sokari, for your time, and thank you for attending our Back today.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Now we are at the end of our Back today. So thanks everyone for attending our Back today. I hope that you enjoyed the talks, and also I'm happy to announce that our next webinar will be on the 4th of November, and it will be about the 39 challenges when building a mobile apps at scale. So keep in touch and check our YouTube channel, Twitter account, or LinkedIn page for further information. Thank you and goodbye.